Getting your new wireless router set up doesn't need to be complicated. This discussion of ours will guide you step by step through the process of connecting the hardware, configuring your router, and preparing your devices so you can enjoy your new wireless internet.
This is Erica Bay Arcelias, and I am going to discuss the first step in setting up the wireless router, which is the connecting the hardware. In connecting the hardware, the first thing to do is to purchase a wireless router. Take note that routers come in all shapes and sizes. Compare features to find the router that is right for you. If you have more area that you need to cover or have lots of walls in your home, you'll need a router that offers the option of upgrading antenna with high gain types. Always remember that all modern routers should support 802.11n, or also known as the wireless N. This is the most stable and offers the fastest speeds and is backwards compatible with other standards such as 802.11g. The second thing to do is to connect the router to the modem. Routers are enabled to share the broadband internet connection with multiple devices. To do so, it is needed to connect the broadband modem to the router. For best result, you can place your router near your modem. Connect the router and the modem with an Ethernet cable. Most routers come packaged with a short Ethernet cable that you can use for this. Then, connect the modem to the WAN or the wide area network. It is also known as Ethernet port 2 on the router. It is usually offset and may be different colors from the LAN ports. By the way, LAN is also known as the local area network. It stands for that. The router will assign a local or private IP address to any device connected to its LAN ports or Wi-Fi signal from a pool of private addresses. The third one is to connect any devices you want to hardwire with, say, AP or Cat5 Ethernet cables. If you have computers that are close or a video game console or TV, you can connect them to the router via Ethernet. This results in a more stable and faster connection and doesn't require any extra configuration. In connecting the hardware, the last thing to do is to connect at least one computer via Ethernet. You will need at least one computer connecting via Ethernet cable in order to adjust the router settings. It can also disconnect this computer afterwards if you want to connect wirelessly. You can also connect your laptop wireless for the first time. The Wi-Fi network name and the default password will be printed on the router's label. The next topic will be discussed by Ms. Althea Ann Siniza.
The next step is connecting your router to broadband providers. When you power on the router, it will only create its Wi-Fi network, and the device will be connected to the router's Wi-Fi connection, not to the internet. To connect the router to the internet with some internet providers like GTPL in India, it is required to register router's MAC address to the internet service provider's website. This can be found printed on router or in the documents. Then go to the internet service provider's website. Log in with the username and password provided by the internet service provider and go to MAC address update option. One can see the existing laptop or computer's MAC address. Add the router's MAC address and save it. This process means that the router is authorized to use the internet provided by the broadband company. The next step we're going to do is configuring the router, which is to be discussed by Mr. Carl Gisler Siniza.
So part 3 is configuring the router, and the first step is find the IP address of the router. If this is a new installation or a new router, determine the default IP address that may be printed on the label affixed to the router or in the documentation. If you can find the router's IP address anywhere, you can do a web search for the router model to see what the default address is. Step 2. Open a web browser on the computer that is connected to the router. Then, enter in the IP address of the router in the address bar and press enter. Your browser will attempt to connect to the router's configuration menu. And if your router came with an installation disk, you can run the configuration program from that instead. It will accomplish many of the same functions. Step 3. Enter your username and password. In order to access the configuration page, you will need to be on the router's IP address and enter a valid username and password at the Step 4. Open the wireless settings. When you log into your router, you will be taken to the router's main menu or status screen. There will be several options to choose from. The internet section can usually be left at default settings unless you receive specific instructions from internet service provider. The wireless section will allow you to set up wireless network. And Step 5. Enter a name for your wireless network. In the wireless section, you should see a field labeled SSID or name. Enter a unique name for your wireless network. This is what other devices will see when scanning for networks. And the following steps will be discussed or reported by Carl Justin Sinisa.
So next step, choose a security method. Choose from the list of available security options. For the best security, choose WPA2/PSKey as an encryption method. This is the most difficult security to crack and will give you the most protection from hackers and intruders. Step 7. Create a passphrase. Once you've chosen your security method, enter in a passphrase for the network. This should be a difficult password with a combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. Don't use any passwords that could be easily deduced from your network name or from knowing you. Step 8. Save your settings. Once you are finished naming and securing your wireless network, click the Apply or Save button. The changes will be applied to your router, which may take a few moments. Once the router has finished resetting, your wireless network will be enabled. Next step. Change your router's username and password from the default. Once you have your network configured, you should change the username and password that you use to access your router. This will help protect your router and unauthorized changes. You can change from the administration section of the router configuration menu. Step 10. Block sites. We want to prevent devices that are connected to your network from accessing certain websites. You can use built-in blocking tools to restrict access. This can be found in the security or block section of the router. You can usually block by specific domain names or by keywords. So the next reporter will be Jeneline Salazar.
Okay, thank you, Carl Justin. Part 4 of 4. Connecting your devices. Step 1. Connect a computer, tablet, or smartphone to the wireless network. Scan for the wireless network with the SSID you provided above. On any device that supports wireless networks, you should see your new network as long as you are within range of the router. Select it and you will be prompted for the passphrase. Step 2. Enter your wireless passphrase. Once you enter the passphrase, your device will be automatically connected to the wireless network. The network will be stored in your device's memory and will automatically connect whenever you are within range. And for detailed instructions on selecting and joining a wireless network for your specific computer, tablet, or smartphone, follow this guide. And lastly, Step 3. Connect your other devices. Besides other computers and tablets, you can connect other devices as well, such as printers, game consoles, TVs, and more. That's all.